Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip, where we talk about, phone flipping strategies and how to up your flip game. With that being said, guys, today's podcast is gonna be a little different. We actually just dropped the link to join in the Slack community that we have. So we might have a couple of students kind of pop in and out. But we're just gonna kind of, for the next hour or so, just kind of talk and make this a podcast. So, with that being said, if you guys do want any more, resources or information or anything like that, make sure to check out the Tech Flips to Profit ebook. You can grab it for free off of episode 11 of the podcast if you want. If you want the PDF and all of that, you can grab that for $4.95 in the descriptions and stuff below. Um, and yeah, there's other descriptions and stuff or things in the description that you can check out too. With that being said, let's just kick it off today. Um, we're gonna keep it light. I don't even know what the topic is gonna be called, but you guys will know, once you watch this. Um, but right now we have on Bryce, and Bryce has been absolutely killing it. How you doing, Bryce?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Yeah, you were just talking about you have like 14 or so orders you got to pack up.
Yeah. Yeah. I got maybe like 15. I think it's about 15 that I gotta pack up today. I'm getting ready to just make sure they make it to the post office before the pickup time at 5. So
Nice.
So, what? How much in sales is that?
I believe that's about I can actually check right now.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Let me see. I'll pull it up. That's from like I believe the last couple days. I think that. Think it's about 1,763 dollars.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you said you had some larger orders that you needed to pack up. I saw Matt laughing about it, but it was like rock band pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah, so one of the items that's been doing pretty good for me lately, it's been a consistent win, has been the Rock Band, just full wireless and wired drum sets with the guitars. And the profits are usually really good because people just get rid of them because they're thinking that they're old and just obsolete. But then, the market research shows that they're still in demand and people will pay a premium for them. So, it's a really good return, but it's kind of an awkward item to ship. So it takes a little bit longer than like something that you could just put in a bubble mailer or like in a small 6x6 box. So sometimes you gotta cut down a couple large boxes, kind of tape them together, and just really take your time to make sure they don't break open on you during shipment, because that would be bad.
Yeah. I was doing some research yesterday on some stuff and I keep seeing these posts and things like that about, phone flippers, you know, hating eBay, right? Like um what's funny is Rick just joined and Rick only flips to direct buyers, but either way. But I was doing some research yesterday on it and like well, I want to ask this real quick, Bryce, since you're on here. Like, when you started with us, were you using eBay at all? Um, and what did it add to your business? Like when you were able to like figure out, how to use it correctly? Because I think that's probably the biggest problem, is a lot of people just don't know how to use it correctly.
So I've always been selling stuff on eBay, kind of just casually. Been knowing about it for a long time. But the biggest thing that helped me out as far as getting in the course and getting some high level training was, like you said, just learning how to truly utilize eBay as a method of sales, but also as a very accurate and reliable measure of like market research and sales data.
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, you can make a decision. You can gather enough information to make a decision on whether or not a deal is even going to be worth it for you
Mhm.
in a very quick period of time. And that's one of my favorite things about eBay because I mean, you just have a lot more wiggle room. You have a lot more margin for error, so to speak. And you know, phones going to direct buyers, obviously that's a great business as well. But hey man, there's nothing like picking up a rock band set that somebody's getting rid of because their kids moved out for $20 and then you literally turn around and sell it on eBay for $350.
Holy crap,
Mhm.
really?
Oh
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't picked one up, so I wouldn't know.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, they're bulky. They're a little
Oh,
less
he's over here
pleasant
showing it.
to pack up and
Nice.
ship, but yeah, let's see what we got there.
Rock
Don't show any
band.
buyer information, please.
Oh, okay, got it.
I'm
But
gonna
as you can
get
see,
taken off YouTube.
I got you. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this right here,
Oh yeah, nice.
this right here is what I sold it for. 350. It's
Nice.
probably gonna cost about maybe like $20 to ship it. But yeah, somebody was literally just getting rid of it, and they were more worried about me not showing up than they were getting a fair price for it. What I mean, to be honest, it is fair because if you're just kind of cleaning out some items
Yeah.
and you're just getting rid of a few things, if somebody will reliably show up and just come, pick up your items that you're done with and give you a couple dollars for it, I mean, in a lot of ways, that is fair.
Hmm.
I
So
wouldn't even think about the rock band thing. I probably would have just thrown it out, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
I didn't think they were worth that much. Of course, that
yeah,
and that's another thing that's now on the radar to look out for. And knowing that I can pick them up for $20, is
yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes they're not always $20, but I'm telling you, like at least in my area, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and there's a pretty decent population out here. So I'm finding multiple rock band slash guitar hero um memorabilia for sale at least a couple times a week, at least two or three to maybe even four or five solid opportunities a week. And it's just another leg that you can stand on as far as consistently generating and locking in profits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see one here. There's one literally listed Xbox Rock Band drum set for $150.
Yeah, and they'll
There's
probably
another
take
one
40
for
for it.
there's another one for 100. Dang, I could probably lowball the hell out of these people because they've been listed for a while.
Yeah, you definitely could. You
Hmm,
definitely could.
it's cool. See, look at that. I'm learning stuff too, people. So
Yeah.
I know Matt's talked about it. I just never did anything with it. What's up, Rick? How you doing? You out picking up deals?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm heading to pick up one, maybe two devices real quick. I almost forgot to jump on, so sorry about that.
Oh, you're
All
good.
good.
What are you going to pick up?
I don't even know. Let's see. Let me scroll up. What you're messaging 10 people. And if they're
Yeah.
saying,
True.
"Hey, I can meet you today," that means I've already verified that it's a deal. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
see, we're going to be buying gosh, this guy's been back and forth for days. 15 plus. I'm buying iPhone 15 plus. Um, very good condition. And let's see, I told him 140 to 160. Oh, parts only. That's what it is. It's iCloud locked. So that's why I asked about condition, specifically the overall exterior condition. So I've told him 140 to 160. He tried to lock me into the 160. I said, I got to see it upon inspection. I'll let you know. So he's drove, I think, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and about to pull up to my favorite Starbucks.
There you
Cool.
go. Nice.
Oh yeah.
iCloud lock clean,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah. 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 I don't usually recommend to buy those, but you know what you're doing, so I'm just gonna let you do what you do best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple different routes. I'm for sure gonna make so iCloud Lock 15 plus. Pull up my direct buyer sheet right now.
I don't do it while you're driving. You're fine.
Why? That's what I do all day long. Um,
Oh my god.
so that's gonna be 15 plus. If it's clean B condition, that'll be. Oh no, this one's carrier locked. Sorry. Yeah, we're doing carrier locked on that. Yeah. That's why I shouldn't have been looking at when I was driving. It's carrier locked on that guy, so I'm still gonna be I'm gonna be good on that one, depending on the condition of it. He couldn't verify if it was unlocked or carrier locked. That's what it was. It's not
Okay.
iCloud.
Oh
My
yeah,
bad.
that's why you got to look at
But
both.
iCloud locked some days that's my bread and butter too though. So I bought 4 yesterday actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a call earlier for Google Lead. She had a 16 Pro Max, carrier locked, financed. Offered. What did I offer? I think I offered 400. So what I've been doing here lately with Google Leads specifically, is whenever I call them or they call me, like
Yeah.
I've been saying this on the past few podcasts lately, is like what have you received any other offers yet, or have you gotten any other offers? And she's like, yeah, the Eco ATM offered me like $430, and I was like, oh, cool, I can offer you 480. $50 more, but that specific phone, if I look at the Mercury electronic sheet, which is what I used, um, that specific phone I can sell for 635.
Nice.
So talk about a nice little $150 profit.
They pay Mercury pays good on iCloud lock too.
Yeah, but yeah. Um, so is this what you do typically? Rick, you just drive around and pick
No, no,
everything.
I was
What
just
what
at the
is
house. I was just at the house actually. So I just
yeah.
went and picked up my mother-in-law. So I just had a baby 4 weeks ago. Yesterday
Yeah.
was 4 weeks. And so, I mean, I didn't, my wife did. But and so I just picked up my in-law from the airport. So I've dropped one daughter off at middle school this morning, and ran and picked up my in-law, and now heading to work. You know what I mean? Like, we got to visit for a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, babe, I gotta step out for a minute." So jumped on the podcast, picking up a phone, and then shipping out some boxes right here. So
You go. Heck yeah, dude. Love it. So back to you, Bryce. So I want to walk through kind of some of the items you're flipping, because it's kind of funny. We got one guy here that only does the iPhones, right? And then we got Bryce who's basically kind of like me and Matt, where we just kind of flip everything. What you
Yes.
have you have 14 orders going out today. So what can we get a little breakdown on what all of those items are? Like, what's the diversity in that?
Yeah, I definitely can do that. So I have my labels laid out right here. So I'll actually go through a few of them. So like I was saying before, I got that rock band set with the guitar and the drums going out today. That's the full set. It's got wireless guitar, the drum pedal, all that good stuff.
Nice.
And then my next order, I have two Xbox One S's going out, which are, y'all know what an Xbox One S is. The
Yeah.
one that's, yeah. I got two of those going out on the same order. I got a blue one, special edition blue console, and then I have the all digital one going out.
Oh, cool.
I actually have another rock band set going out, just the drums, and that one's for the Wii. That one's not like the full set the same way the $350 one is.
Hmm.
And then I actually have a Dell computer monitor that I have going out today. And this isn't an item that I would normally buy, but I am in the habit of always pushing for upsells. So pretty much anytime I go somewhere, I'm always gonna ask, "Do you guys have anything else for sale?" And I always just check the numbers right there on the spot. And
Hmm.
as you guys know, whenever you push hard for upsells, you usually can get an even sweeter deal because the person, all they hear is more money, and the deal's already closed. So
Right.
they just give you their stuff. So just
Take
for
it.
an example, that Dell monitor, I paid like $10 for it. I collected payment for $60 on it, so that's going out today.
Nice.
That's
Um,
there.
Somebody put in a bulk order for some Quest some Quest 2 headsets. They bought four of them from me. So
Nice.
I got four of these going out today. Um
Right on.
yeah, let's see, Quest. I got a I got a PS5 Slim, the updated disc version coming out.
Cool.
I picked that one up. And I've sold that item a lot. And when I checked it out when I was buying it, I could see that it was in very good condition. And I've sold those same items. I've sold that PS5 Slim disc version in very good condition probably 10 times.
Cool.
So I just relisted my original listing because a good condition PS5 Slim is a good condition PS5 Slim. So that actually didn't even make it in the house. That's still in the car. So I already sold it. I just updated my order. I just relisted previously sold PS5 because it's literally the same thing and it's sold. I didn't even have a chance to bring it in the house yet.
Cool.
Um yeah, this one I got another order going out for another Xbox One S that's in horrible, terrible condition. It looked like somebody poured acid on it and it's like super rough. I don't even understand how somebody could damage a gaming console that much. But
I've
sure
seen
enough,
I've seen people put out cigarette butts on their freaking consoles, man. It's crazy.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But hey man, that's fine. I buy those too for like 20 bucks.
Man,
So
what did Microsoft or Sony ever do to these people?
I don't
I
know.
don't know, man.
Crazy.
Microsoft never did anything wrong to me. Um, so yeah, I paid like $20 for the one S, 1 terabyte that was in really bad condition, and I believe I sold that for like 90 bucks.
Nice.
This is kind of an interesting order I have going out. So these two are for Panasonic house phone handsets,
Huh.
and as you know, that's definitely not something that I would really buy. I'm not doing a reach out for a house phone. But it was an upsell, and the lady literally just gave them to me for free. And by the time
Hey,
I got everything listed, it was probably like an extra $125 worth of inventory.
here we go.
So, hey man, I'll take it. And sure enough, they already started selling. Another interesting order that I have going out. This is definitely a match special. I got a 13-inch CRT TV with a built-in DVD player on it.
You already know.
Yes, sir. I picked that up for 20 bucks,
That's a
and
deal.
I let that one go for 180 on eBay.
Crap, seriously?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
man. Yeah.
The Matt
It's,
special. Right, I forgot.
that's a Matt special. Some deals, it's a Matt special, man. Seriously.
So it sounds, Bryce, like your schema for flipping is very similar to mine. Like
Definitely.
you're a little bit all over the place in electronics, but your ROI is really, really pronounced. Like those are,
Very strong.
yeah,
What
pick
would
them
you
up for
say your
20,
ROI
sell
is,
them for
dude?
150. Like that's fantastic too. And I'm just, I mean, I hope people watch this and understand like you don't have to. Moving phones is fantastic, but if you're
Yeah.
not in the phone space, you're in the electronic space. Oh my gosh, you can do really well just moving other stuff that people aren't interested in. Like we're making money, not even yes off the products, but in a lot of ways off of human nature. People get bored with stuff, so they give Bryce two phones.
Yep.
Okay, take these phones. He's not even aware of the value behind those phones. But somebody, if money is an exchange of perceived value, somebody on the other side of wherever on eBay said, hey, that's a cool whatever retro vintage something phone that I need. And what did you sell each of the phones for?
I sold one of the phones. I sold one of the phones for $10 for just a single one, and then I sold two of them together, grouped up with batteries for 25. So, I mean,
Lot of money.
it doesn't sound like much, but at the end of the day, somebody literally just put money in my hand. Like I was
Yeah,
already making like probably $70 on the original item that I pulled up to buy from them. So it's like,
yeah.
and it's back to our point of what we were saying on eBay. At the end of the day, you take the model number, you search it up on eBay, you
Hmm.
scroll to the left side, and you click sold listings. If there's a market, if people will actually pay money for this, you will know right then and there. And you will even be able to gather a pretty reliably solid mental framework on how long it's going to take for this item to move as well. So,
Yeah.
hey man, if the comps add up, I'm gonna pull my wallet out. That's what I say.
For sure.
That's a huge benefit too of selling on eBay. Like you bring up a great point too of like some people that are maybe debating or like tinkering with the idea, do I go eBay, do I go direct buyer, or I've been on eBay, do I just pull out and go direct buy? You open yourself up to buy so much more stuff.
Yeah.
So which then will lend you to want to go ask for the upsales, right? Because I'll probably buy it. Like whatever it is, I'll probably buy it
Yeah.
because I know I can sell it on eBay. Whereas me, right? Like I don't ask for upsales. I can't ask as blanketed because I don't want to touch it. I don't have the shelf space to hold the inventory because I don't distribute through eBay. And so I'm way more niche and locked into a small niche.
Yeah.
But that's baller though, because you can gain that extra profit every time.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
You got to
And
love the ROI on that free 99 stuff that lady gave you.
what would
Yeah.
you say
yeah.
your ROI per device is? Or like, so if Bryce, if you were to spend $100, how much would you say that you're getting back on average right now per every $100 you're spending?
On average, because mind you, I still do buy phones. I
Yeah,
still
of
will
course.
buy the higher price.
Yeah.
By the time you factor everything in, I would say if I'm spending $100, home runs and base hits included, probably like $160. I'll make $60 profit on
Yeah,
$100, or maybe
that's so
70.
60% margin. That's
Yeah,
all right. You're
yeah,
creeping up on Matt over here.
yeah,
On Matt's average of 72%,
yeah,
which is wild. Like
for
that's
sure.
for those of you listening, that's like an incredible ROI um,
And
when it
I
comes to anything really.
and last month's sales, I did like I believe it was a tad bit less than 16,000 in sales. So profit wise, I probably made like I don't even know, but I have to go check. But
Yeah.
probably
About
pushing,
8,000,
yeah, probably pushing
8,500.
like, yeah, probably pushing like between 7 and 8,000. I mean, I have a wider range of products. So
Yeah.
sometimes, like every now and then, I'm not scared to take a risk on a product I don't know about. So I probably deal with more returns than the average person. So I'm factoring that in as well. But
Yeah.
first of all, I'm not getting that many returns, number
Yeah.
one.
Right.
But I'm subtracting my returns. If I technically profited $8,000, I probably maybe had $500 or $600 worth of returns,
That's
maybe.
nothing.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
that's another great point actually. Like a lot of people are worried about returns. I'm not. The reason I'm not is because like I don't have to give them their money back until I get the item back, right?
yeah,
Like let's be real, yeah, eBay might put a hold on my account. That's fine, totally cool with that. Um, but at the same time, like the person has to ship it back. And the crazy thing is a lot of times you can just relist it and sell it the same day you
And
get it back.
it's true. Anyone who sells anything has returns. So like what's the real concern here for? Like everybody should know, like I mean, you ever seen the customer service line around Christmas time at Target or
Oh
Walmart?
yeah, for
Like
sure.
returns happen.
It's part of the business,
Um,
right? So
yeah,
what do they do with those? They sell them to liquidation places. Like they just sell them to somebody else, and that's what happens.
that's
So
right. Still make their money.
exactly,
Um,
they make back probably what they paid for it. Is likely what happens there, and that's fine. Um, so that's cool. I love that. It's funny to me. Last week, right? Like, Matt, I sent you this deal. I bought that Valve Index. You
yeah.
know, and Rick, you'll love this. I actually drove to that deal. I know for everybody listening, like I don't drive to deals. However, so far I've made back about $700 in profit off of that deal alone.
That's
Uh,
fantastic,
I
Chris.
still got two items left that have to sell.
I
So
hope you I hope you clear 900 to 1,000 by the time it's done.
yeah, I think that's a drive worthy amount of profit to go for. So
I'd have to agree with you there for sure.
that was
I
that was a
just
home run. I'll be real. Like that
I also
rarely ever happens.
I want everyone to know that this is my influence. This is my peer pressure on Chris. I
It
got
is.
Chris in his car and he drove down the street and he made $1,000, and that is the burden of my friendship on Chris Schroeder.
What's crazy is I also found it on Craigslist of all places. Um,
Yes, sir.
so that was interesting.
Speaking
That's
of
even
peer
sweeter.
pressure,
Yeah.
speaking of peer pressure, look what Matt peer pressured me to do.
What was that?
Check out the
Oh,
light box.
Lightbox.
Oh yeah.
Look at
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
So,
And
Okay, that also it peer pressured me too, so I made one as well. So,
well, Chris, I'm curious, how quickly did that first round of stuff from the Valve Index help you make your money back and then some? How fast
oh,
did it sell?
I sold the trackers and the base stations for about $748, I think, by themselves. And
Sick.
then I had four extra trackers on top of that, which was the honestly that was the so I sold those four trackers for 380. So I made back $1,000 almost immediately within 2 days. So, but I only knew how to do that because of I remember you finding that deal for Jaime where he, where you found it was the trackers, three trackers, and then the base stations only.
Hmm.
And those were selling for wildly more than they were by themselves, which is
Yep.
very interesting. It's a very
Yep.
like that's something you need to know in the market, otherwise you completely miss it.
Yeah.
Uh, and but it adds what an extra what $250 to the whole deal, like
Yeah.
yearly. So
Which,
it's like knowing those little back alleys, of
right.
where
Yeah.
the deals happen and how you have to structure it to just like pull more out of it. But
Yeah.
that's more of a thing with consoles and things outside of that,
Yeah.
outside of phones. Um, Phones are a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
I think part of the eBay hustle that also really can help somebody cover a lot of ground quickly in this business is because, like we were talking about, phones are so straightforward, and that is such a consistent income source. And that is like a completely different type of money compared to, managing a larger eBay inventory. But the thing is, a lot of people starting out, if you got a couple grand, if you got 1,000, if you got $500, I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta kind of try to make your money the smartest and most profitable way you can. Sometimes, like a lot of reason why I've been able to cover a lot of ground quickly is because I'm buying those CRT TVs for $20 and selling them for $180,
Yep.
Yeah.
or because I'm buying a Rock Band set for that one was 20, but let's just say for $50 and selling it for $250. That
Hmm.
can really help you scale more because the phones, they're a bit more pricey. I'm still growing to be able to afford all of the phone leads that
Yeah.
I'm even getting at this point.
Fair.
So, it's just you gotta kind of play your cards the best way you can. And eBay and consoles has definitely aided me in that process.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like today, I'm paying 480 for a phone, right? And I mean, Rick, you probably do this on a daily basis because you only do iPhones. But like sometimes you'll spend up to sometimes 2 to 3 grand in a day just on phones to make $500, which is not bad still.
That's great. That's great.
Still amazing. Um, I always like to just have that like extra,
Hmm.
um, because of the upsells. A lot of the times the upsells are actually what helps me close the deals on the phones. Being completely honest with everybody, like a lot of the times I won't agree with somebody on their iPhone, and I'll be like, well, what else do you have? I buy iPads, MacBooks, smartwatches, cameras, etc. And they're like, oh, well, I got an iPad. I've been buying a lot of iPads lately, by the way, just so you guys are aware. I'm doing really well with those. Um, and a lot of the times I'll be like, well, what if we are able to agree on the iPad? If you want to just bring the phone, I'll take a look and see what I can do.
Yeah.
That the phone, in my opinion, like iPhones and Samsungs, those are more of a gateway to other people's products, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because most of the time I actually make more off the upsells than I do the original item.
That checks
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
very common thing for me. Because whenever it's funny, I bought an iPhone 11 the other day, made like $50 off of it, right? But she had a white PS4 Slim.
Special edition.
It's special edition. I bought it for $30.
Nice.
Sold,
Okay.
sold for 120. I made more off of that than I did the original phone that she was selling me.
For
Well,
sure.
and you brought up a good point too, something too, just to key in on. Um, I try to be careful not to get caught up in the weeds with quoting three, four, five different
Yeah,
items.
yeah.
And you kind of skimmed over that real quickly, but like if we back it up, like because what can end up happening is if through either broken English or just misunderstanding them using like shorthand texting, you get a misunderstanding on this second or third device in, and you lose the whole deal when you really wanted the first iPhone 15 Pro or what, you know what I mean? And so I've found that over the years, like I try to lock in on the one that they seem the most interested in.
Uh-huh.
But then sometimes they're like, oh, and I got this, and I got a 13, but it's crap. And I'm like, awesome, I'd love to look at that when we meet up. Like I just try to just move on to, hey, you came to me and clicked on my ad and said, I got this, I want to sell this. Like, hey, I'm all about it, and I would love to buy your other stuff, just to save some time. Like, when can you meet up? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I'm flexible with time and place. What works for you? Well, how much could you do, man? Roughly, depending on if they give me information, I might could do this to this, kind of give them a span or something if they really are pressing me. But if
Yeah.
not, I just go hey, just bring it. Like I'm totally down to buy everything you've got. Because I've seen it where I've lost it. I've lost like all three or four items, and I'm like, well, shit, like it was just a misunderstanding or whatever, or
Yeah.
like, you know, 3 hours later, back and forth. They're like, oh, some other guys offer me more. I'm like, on what? On which one? On all of it? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we? It's just like, what the hell just happened?
Well,
Yeah.
we had this happen. Aaron was on the negotiation call yesterday, and this had like he was going through a negotiation message that somebody had sent in for him to check out. And the dude literally killed the whole conversation by making an offer on an upsell. And I don't recommend that at all. Like he closed on the phone, and then he made a really rough offer on an iPad, I think. And that it
And then
just
the guy got insulted by it or something.
yeah, it killed the whole deal, like
Ah,
the whole thing.
yeah,
And Aaron, Aaron does the same thing that I do. It's just like, just bring it with you. I'll check it out whenever we're in
yeah,
person. Which is what I recommend, by the way. If you guys already close a deal, if the first deal is closed, literally just tell the person, hey, feel free to just bring the stuff with you. I'll check it out whenever we're in person. It's a
yeah,
lot easier for me to inspect everything and look at everything. iPhones are a lot easier. I just make all kinds of excuses, right?
Yeah.
right.
I can just it, I can negotiate really well in person because people like me. I compliment them when they come in the door and all of that stuff, right? So another thing about that too is if Rick, you brought up a really good point. If somebody has more than one item, make one offer on all three. Don't lay it out individually. Like for example, if somebody's like, I got two iPhone 11s and an iPhone 16 Pro Max, I'll be like, all right, great, I can pay $600 for everything. Like say it like that. Not you don't want to because you don't want to say I'm gonna pay $50 for the iPhone 11.
And when you've already offered, and it seems like you've semi closed it on the main item, and
Yeah,
then they're like, and I got this and this, then you're going to start parting it out, like you said,
yeah,
and you're not able to do the one big bulk price, right?
yeah,
Whereas actually, I can pay you $1,000, but like I'm getting caught up in trying to understand, is that one carrier locked or not? Which one? Well, the second one you were talking about, like, and then you're like, fuck, what are we even talking about? Like, what's going? I don't even know which way's up.
yeah. I just like to make one offer, and
Yeah,
that worked out really well for me. And I just base everything. My first offer is always based on carrier lock, unless they tell me it's unlocked.
yeah.
I'm just, I just need very little information to kind of go forward with that.
I had
Yeah.
a I had a guy the other night that this was like 4 nights ago, 5 nights ago. I didn't follow my advice that I'm giving right now, and he asked about an iPad mini. After I couldn't quite tell if he was like if he liked the price on the 15, I think it was a 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max, And so then he was just like, okay, well, what about this? And I was like, yeah, I totally can pick that up too. Like, and he's like, well, how much could you do? And I was like, just his verbiage was like, maybe he wasn't feeling the first one. And I was like, cool, I'll buy the iPad, I guess. Like, if you're like, maybe you don't have another phone. I think he was asking me about, can I trade in and what? I was like, no, unfortunately, I don't do that, man. But so I thought maybe the deal was done with the phone. So then I offered on the iPad, and he kind of just seemed wishy washy, and then I just kind of like assumed the sale and followed up a couple different times, and then he's like, several hours later, yeah, let's meet. And we meet, and he just has a phone. I was like, hey, I said, did you bring the iPad too? I was like, I'd love to buy both from you. And he's like, I don't know. Like it wasn't really a lot for it. So, and I had to do a deduction on the phone because of the condition of it right there. And I said, I can get back to making you whole. I was like, if you get the iPad, I don't know, man. I said, why don't you go grab it? So he walks out to his car and gets it.
Uh-huh.
And come to find out, because I needed him to go get it, because as I was looking at the device, he had stolen device protection, and I was like, the only way to work around it is if you're logged into another iCloud, like that same iCloud on another device.
Yeah.
I can work around it, not have to wait 60 minutes. And he gets it. He's logged into a different iCloud account. I make him wipe the device. I didn't make him. I made sure he's cool with it. We wiped the device, log into the same iCloud account, then go find my iPhone, sign out of the phone. I go, sweet, finally got it wiped. It's good. We saved 45 minutes doing that. And I go, man, I feel really invested here. I was like, why don't you just go ahead and let me buy this iPad from you? I don't know. And I know. Like, he's like, this and that, this and that. Could you do more? I was like, I can do the exact same price I quoted you at. And I just hold the money out and put it like right in front of his
Uh-huh.
face.
Yep.
And he just takes it. I was like, sweet. Can we sign out of that now?
Nice.
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
But like you said, in person, right? You can they're motivated. They see that you're pulling money in your pocket, giving it to them, right? They're motivated to earn that extra cash. So you can close more once they're there, once they bring it all, for sure.
One thing I see that's a big advantage for, and this honestly, I kind of really just found out about this, which is weird because I've been doing this business for a long time, but I started realizing that a lot of like, let's just say repair shops or buyback businesses that have like stores, the first thing they try to do is they try to convince people to come into their store so they can negotiate in person, right? But I've actually started seeing what we do because we can give an offer without actually seeing it beforehand. Like that's a massive benefit.
Yeah.
It's honestly a huge benefit. Um, and a lot of those places don't do that, which I think is really interesting. I don't know, like, and I've had like, and the reason I bring this up is I got a call the other day, and it was this person they were trying to sell. It was a phone, I believe, and they were like, "Yeah, I called this other place, and they said I had to come in and they had to inspect it, and then they would give me a price." And they were like, "Can you just give me a price over the phone?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, what is it? They told me what it was, and I made them an offer, and they were like, "All right, cool." And I was like, just curious, like, why wouldn't you go to the other place? They were like, well, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what they were going to give. I didn't know if I was going to walk in and they were going to lowball me. And I didn't know if it was going to waste my time or not. And I was like, oh, I've never actually viewed it from that way, you know?
That's a good point for sure, because especially for people that are like maybe listening to this podcast that are thinking of jumping into the business, or they're doing it part time and going, can I like financially sustain myself to do it full time?
Yeah.
Like, because there's a repair shop on every corner. You know what I mean? It feels like at times, right? And for sure, that so you got to look at what benefits do you offer your customers, your clients, which are seemingly their same clients as well for those shops, right? Like you're vying for that same customer base. What makes you more appealing? It's that for sure. It's I can ask you two questions and give you a price, and be pretty like dead on to what I know I
Yeah.
can cash you out for. And most of them, you're right, they don't do that. One other thing I'll add to that too is another bonus, looking at it through that lens of like, is this sustainable long term? Which of course most of us on here are proof of it is, because we've been doing it for years. Uh, but other than that, is another one too. I don't know if you've heard this. I've had several customers share this with me, um, because they offered me more, but like then they still come back to me when I do a follow up, like an hour later or whatever. Yeah, okay, if you can do it today, I'll sell to you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, sweet, I didn't even change my price. I didn't even come up or nothing. And then it's asking that question, like what was the difference? Why did well, they said that they didn't have any more money to spend for the day. Have you ever
What?
heard that? Have you ever heard that?
No, I
There's
haven't.
several shops. There's several
Wow.
shops in my area, in my metro KC metro area, that the owner or the management or probably both in the same person, they put a spending limit, a buy limit, because they don't have enough capital. They don't have enough working
Wow.
capital because they're working with buying parts, paying
Yeah.
employees, all the things that
That's
we don't
true.
have to
Yeah.
fool with,
Wow.
right? We don't have to fool with that. So even reaching back earlier to earlier conversation you were having with Bryce, I mean, he was talking about he's still working on trying to build up that working capital to buy anything and everything he wants. It's a real struggle for us right at times, but the quicker we can get there to get that buying capital like nest egg set up, it that's a whole nother advantage because I've literally in the last 3 months I've heard that reason, that rationale for
Yeah.
why they sold to me, even though I didn't come up on my price at all. I've heard it at least 3 or 4 times just in the last
Wow.
few months.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
another
makes
big
sense
part.
though. It makes sense though.
It
I
makes
used to,
perfect sense.
yeah, like from like managing your own business, right? Like that is the
Yeah.
reason why I use free USPS boxes.
Yeah.
It keeps my working capital where it needs to be to be able to buy phones, not buying boxes. Like so, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot to kind of get there to that point. And there's a lot of people, the people in America right now that have money have a lot of money. It's kind of like the divide is kind of widening. People either really got an excess of money or it's a little bit tight and there's not very much in between. So for me, that's kind of why I've invested so much into, getting my paid ads and stuff going and, still working towards getting the phones, but also not being scared to flip the lower end items with the higher return because, hey man, there's some days where I run out of money too. And it's just so obvious to see the level of income that you can make once you kind of get over the hump as far as working capital goes. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm such a strong advocate for consoles and, eBay sales because it'll get you there.
It will. That's a really fair way to look at it. For me, it was necessary. Like it was a necessity. Like I started reselling with $100 backpack in my garage. And then when I have $5,000, I realized I could pretty much buy anything and everything. And that's where it took off from there, you know? And I think scaling with consoles, maybe that's why I'm still partial to it, is because it saw me to that specific place where I was like, oh, okay. And then Chris and I had an interaction. In fact, our first interaction over the phone was when he and I were still in sort of like more of a crypto phase, and he was on board with the course, and he was like, "What? So what makes you think you're ready to join up with this?" And I was like, "Well, I've saved $10,000." And once I had saved $10,000, reselling consoles, I was like, "Well, that wasn't very hard." Um, and
Well,
I just kept
when you're making, $720 for every $1,000 you spend, like it's
fair.
pretty easy.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Like I mean, if you were to like get those same returns in the stock market, it's like, dude, that's insane,
Yeah. I
Um,
like I like turning $1 into two. And I try to get as close as possible, guys. So,
yeah.
but um, I think for a lot of people that are listening to this, I think one really valuable takeaway that I want to lay out and just plainly express this and put this on the table is that um, whether you're flipping consoles or phones, phones are a great gateway to getting all the other stuff that we resell here. And if you want to expand your business, your empire, however you want to frame that, um, a great thing to do is to just learn to gradually start reselling other stuff because chances are there's more ducks on the pond if you've already got one that's kind of coming in. And uh, I love that. I love that if a phone is the hook, there's a lot more there to be had by each and every reseller if people would just take the time to maybe build their skill set. And that's one of the great things about what Chris does or about what I'm able to teach, about what we've been able to share with the folks on this podcast today. And Bryce in particular is a very solid example of reselling in a very similar way
Yeah.
that I resell. And I think it's cool. That's why I think it's one reason why you're seeing some really handsome ROI or return on investment.
I
And I don't
think they
know, it just
use.
gets me pumped. And JB's in the chat. What's up, JB?
Hey, JB, what's up, dude?
KB.
I think one thing that so I see this quite often, and this happened with me, is like what you'll do is number one, you start off usually pretty specific, right? And then what I've noticed is with Recelerator, we give you a wide variety of different items to flip. And then over time, what ends up happening though is you narrow back down, right, to the items that you flip well and that
Right.
you have recognized have the best ROI. And honestly, that's what I've done over the past couple of years is my stuff is like I started with phones. I actually started with Samsungs and things like that because I was partial to them. I had never used an iPhone before. I gradually moved to iPhones, and then I moved to just more Apple products, and then I expanded out upon that again. But now I've actually, I've honed back in to about 4 to 5 items or categories per se. Mine is iPhone, Samsung, iPads, MacBooks, and actually like VR headsets. And those are like my five. Those are the 5 categories that I play in the most because I've had the most success with them.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah, and I think, as you come up in this business, you'll find those ones you do really well with. Obviously, the ones that you have higher ROI with are the ones you're going to stick with. Like now, drones are on my radar, right? Like
Yeah,
I made almost $300 in profit off of a drone from a
that's
Google
sick.
lead 2 weeks ago. Like, and it sold within the day, like within 30 minutes. I was kind of pissed because it sold so fast. So it told me I sold it too low. But $300 is $300, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
Um,
straight up.
so, um, well, JB is in the chat. Yeah, JB started off in Console Kings. Now he's in Recelerator. What's
Hmm.
up, dude? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's good, bro?
Up, man.
Y'all picking up stuff?
Yeah, just running around, making little pickups and trying to follow up with people. And it's Friday, so it's a busy day today.
Yep. Friday is the day. I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Like, what are your guys' busiest days? Mine are usually like Friday, Saturday, a lot of the times. Like, that's when I get a lot of calls.
Yeah, it's true. Friday, Saturday, even Sunday too.
Saturday and Sunday for me as far as paid ads, but I would say Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for reach outs. I don't know why, but that's just what I noticed. I see
Yeah,
Hmm.
a lot more
I
stuff.
noticed that too.
Interesting.
Like
I'd
Monday,
say,
Tuesday, Wednesday for the reach outs. And then like the weekends, like I'll get a lot of people hitting me back up from me reaching out earlier in the week.
Yeah. I wonder if there's not a trend of people posting their stuff on the weekend because that's when they have time and it taking a few days for it to catch traction with an algorithm like Facebook Marketplace. And then if you're busy looking for stuff like that, you're going to see it, you know, um, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Weekends make sense to me because people looking to turn up in some kind of way, whether it's to pay the bills or just to, turn up in the way people do.
Yep.
Like
Yes.
people are looking for cash going into the weekend. I tell people a lot, you be aware of the financial rhythms that people have because if you're in a business like reselling, you're essentially a mobile pawn shop. And so the first, the 15th, and the 30th of the month are very clear times when people need cash, which means they need your service, which means it's easier to sell them cash when they need it. And if you're aware of the financial rhythms that people have in their lives, it just makes you a little more aware too of how you could get better deals within the frequency of the month.
I'm curious on your take with this, Rick, because you're full time like me, and
yeah.
like you know, so
I
like
was
you
I
said.
was just gonna say some things that kind of contradicted everybody a little bit, but yeah, I was like sitting back, like, I don't want to be that
Go
guy.
for it.
No, it's gonna be much like a response I gave like on a previous podcast to you guys.
Yeah.
I found that my best days are usually 24 to 48 hours after I've actually put the time in. After I've actually done a good job of following up doing that 6 hour or whatever follow up, whatever your rhythm is, then like that next day follow up from the guys from the previous day, and then doing like going back to like my 3 day follow ups, my 7 day follow up. If I've really slowed down and put a very specific response to those guys that are from 6 hours ago, a very specific set of response type of response to that whole group of 10 people from the day before,
Yeah.
because I have different types of responses, that kind of create more urgency or a little more laid back, things like that. And then I ratchet it up, and I have different. I do graphic responses. I'm starting to tinker with doing video responses for follow ups. Um, and so just trying different stuff. But I found, and I know this to be true for myself. So it's me kicking my own stuff in the ass, going, man, it's been kind of a rough week, and I'm like, yeah, you've just been like responding to people on the fly because you've had all the different family things going on at home and whatnot. I need to slow down and really like lock in, put some music on my headphones, whatever, and like get in the zone of like really reading the verbiage of what people are saying and responding like a true salesman, and like would respond to an actual client and an actual customer.
Mm.
And so for me, when I lock in like that, those are the days that bust open for me. Usually within minimum 24 hours, all up to probably like 36 hours later is when it starts popping.
Mm.
Um, or I mean, 36 to 48 hours. Sorry. Yeah. 36 to 48 hours is when it starts popping for me. And then I start seeing the onslaught, right? Then I'll still, and it's funny because I'll see it. I'm like, someone will be like, hey, yeah, I'm ready to meet up. And I'll go pop, I'll hit that notification and look at it. And it's from a like 7 day follow up, like a week long follow up that I did. And I did it 4 days ago. And so they finally like got to it. It was, back of mind for them, and they finally went, okay, yeah, I remember talking to him. Now it's been 10 days. Yeah, I
Mm.
can meet today. And had I not followed up, that wouldn't have been a sale.
That's
Um,
common with Facebook for sure. Like
for sure.
the F in
Yeah, yeah,
Facebook
yeah,
follow up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 And I would say, to what Matt was just saying, like the following, like when I used to be in retail sales and management, for sure, like you follow those trends of the first of the month, at the end of the month, things like that. When
Mhm.
when they get their checks and stuff like that, I get that. Um, I would say even take it a step further though, like be aware of that, but I would say slow down and read into the urgency of the verbiage they're using too. I
That's
it,
good.
it
Yeah.
it's made no rhyme or
Change
reason
that.
of when it was in the month at all. Like and I've had them go, I'm trying to get a last little bit of money for rent. And this literally happened like 3 days ago, and I was like, it's
Mm.
the 17th. What are you talking about? But I was like, okay, and like I stopped, and they were on down the list. If I had gone through my follow up, like I wouldn't have got to them for maybe another hour or so, getting caught up with people. But I was like, I was kind of scrolling through the notifications, and it was like trying to pay my rent or trying to pay my bills, and I was like, ooh, let me click on that guy. I was like, because I'm out and about right now. I might can meet this dude right now. So yeah, just really slowing down a bit at times, especially if you're having a rough day or a rough few days, and I sometimes check out, and I give a real checked out response sometimes, and I know it. And so, kind of slowing down my personal life and switching into work mode, and really like sign up to try to meet the needs of my customer, my client.
Mhm.
I like how you're so intentional with it. That's so cool. Like it's fun to listen to that because I know whenever we interviewed you a couple weeks back, you know, you're like it's all on me, and I mean I like that response because it always puts me back where I'm a very data driven guy, so sometimes
Right.
it's hard to like um I guess move into that other mindset because like I can see the data for like my and I'll be real like for everybody listening I've been spoiled rotten with Google Leads like I'm just spoiled at this point. Um, Same thing with Aaron. We're like we were talking about it the other day, and we were like, we're just spoiled at this point. We don't really have to work that hard anymore to like close a deal, just because of where they come from at this point. Um, when it comes to Facebook, and you got to follow up, and yeah, you do have to be intentional. Um, and those conversations go a lot longer. Um, what I've done
Yeah,
for
because they've clicked on my ad, but they've also clicked on three other guys' ads, right? That have popped in
exactly,
their
yeah,
face. But like
exactly.
you said, Google, they went and found you, right? So that's different. So for sure, it's very different. And so yeah,
Yeah.
the fault for sure. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting Google leads and Facebook leads now. Like, I mean, I mean, I know you still close a lot from Facebook because that's a lot of where you started
Yeah.
with this. And that's actually something I want to ask the group. Bryce, I think you're getting Google leads right now.
Yep.
I mean, let's talk about that real quick. Like, I want to talk about because a lot of people listening don't know the difference between those leads right now and like where they come from and like how different they can be. Bryce, we'll start with you on that one. Like, what does that look like when it comes to Facebook and Google? Where are you closing more? Which leads do you prefer? You know, that kind of thing.
Um, Facebook is for me right now producing the highest volume of paid leads, but I've just noticed that sometimes the quality of leads on Facebook, you get a lot more tire kickers on Facebook, so to speak. Like they're just kind of trying to test the water. They're just kind of like, just trying to see, hey man, maybe. Sometimes people will hit me up and say, hey, I got an iPhone 15 Pro asking price $1,500. Like it's just the leads aren't as high quality. However, there is definitely some quality sellers and quality leads sprinkled in there. And due to the fact that it's a higher volume, it's still a great lead source.
Yeah.
However, for me, I'm kind of new to the whole Google My Business thing and just the Google paid ads in general. So I'm not necessarily getting flooded with Google leads, but the Google leads are definitely way higher quality. And the people are ready to meet right away. They don't really give too much pushback on. And a lot of times they're the most profitable because they are very much in sell now mode. Because if they found you on Google, they probably, they had to search for it. They're actively searching cash for phones,
Right.
money now. It's a whole different ball game than just seeing a cash
Yeah.
for phones ad. People casually use Facebook, just people just get on Facebook and just shop around. You might just see my ad pop up in your feed on Facebook Marketplace when you're just on Facebook Marketplace, just browsing. But on Google, it's like a whole different ball game, and those people are ready to meet now. Those are the
Yep.
people that are going to drive 45 minutes to meet you 2 minutes away from your house. It's just, yeah, it's just the highest quality lead source. But both
Yep.
are still good and both are still very valuable.
Agreed. I agree with all of that. But yeah, well, is there anything you guys want to add? I think this has been a pretty productive podcast.
A quick question for you, JB. I was just curious, like, since jumping on board and teaming up, what do you feel like has accelerated or increased for the better with your personal reselling business? I would love to hear from you for a moment.
Oh yeah, me personally, like my reach out and my follow game has just become like monster. Just like reaching out like crazy, and then I've kind of learned how to cherry pick a little bit too,
Nice.
and then just following up and just basically sticking in there, just following up and reaching out, following up, reaching out, and then before I know it, like I get kind of like residual leads from people I might have planted seeds with days in advance, and people hit me up or people I talk to, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to do that now, or I can do that now, or
Hmm.
so basically just like staying consistent. That's been paying off for me the most. Just staying consistent with the reaching out and following up.
That's awesome. What kind of items have you most have been some of your best sellers in the last 2 months?
I kind of been sticking to like the Nintendo Switches, Xbox, and like the VR stuff. Like that's
Mhm.
been my biggest winners right there. And
Yeah.
then I'll find like the occasional off the radar flips that you talk about occasionally, but those
Hmm.
have been like the main ones, those three actually.
Nice. That's great. Phones from time to time still?
Every now and then, like I usually tend to try to get the phones on the like through the upselling process because I honestly don't care to deal with like some of these people and their phones, but I found like getting them through my console customers make for a much better experience for me.
I like that. The front door is the console, the back door is. And if you have a phone, because let's be real, anybody hearing this, hey, phone people and console people hit different, y'all. Just
They do, man. Totally different.
Way different vibe.
yeah,
I mean, honestly, like dealing with some of these phone people, you kind of feel like you're in the drug business. It's kind of shady.
Yeah, you are kind of a little bit. It's very gray area. It can get gray area pretty fast in the phone business.
Very, very great, man. And you find people that try to pull the most scams or lies. And I mean, nothing against the phone people. This is my personal experiences dealing
yeah,
with just going after phones through the front end. So I'm like, I mean, because everyone that's got a console has a phone, and it might not be the other way around, you know. So for sure, if they got
yeah.
everyone has a phone. I mean, pretty much.
Good
So
point.
it's like I just choose to get the phones on the back end.
Right. All the console people have phones, y'all. Hope you heard that. And
That's a good point.
I do think it's wild though. Some phone people be like, nah, man, I ain't pulling up to no police station, man. We ain't doing that. And I'm just like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right,
Oh, I'm not coming in the Starbucks. I'm sorry. What?
right. I had that before. I met a guy at Taco Bell. He's like, I'm not their customer, so I don't want to go inside. I'm like, I meet people here all the time. I'm like, I don't do parking lots. I don't do back alleys. I don't do apartment complexes. None of that.
that's right. It's gonna have to be in broad daylight, good sir. Um,
Exactly. Not under some shade tree behind the restaurant somewhere.
Man, I
yeah.
had one guy a couple weeks ago who um it was at Starbucks and he was like, "Yeah, meet me around back." I'm like, "What? No, come inside. What's wrong with you?" Like like I didn't say what's wrong with you, but I was like, "Nah, I always meet people inside, bro." It's like, but I'm
Yeah,
around the back side of Starbucks and I'm like there all there is a drive-through on the back side of Starbucks. And I was like, "No, you come inside." Like I'm meeting and
absolutely.
I always say this, like I'm meeting other people. So it's like
Yeah, that's
it
good.
puts that
That's
social
a good one.
pressure on them,
That's
you
a
know?
good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you
I've
buy a lot of
actually broke.
do you buy a lot of coffee from Starbucks, Chris?
Buy a lot of cake pops
Okay, okay, I got it.
for my
Christian.
children.
I
Yeah.
love. Oh no! Don't throw that in at the end. We know it's free. We know you like the cookies and cream one. Calm down.
I've actually
Chris
I've
is
never
if steak and eggs is a cake pop, then Chris is eating that right now. But I don't think
yeah, I'm 52 days in on the steak and eggs, boys.
I know, bro. You're killing it. You're killing it.
I've literally I cannot wait to eat something else at this point.
It's all steak and eggs?
hey, make that
That's
man a
all I've eaten
sandwich.
for
Make that man a sandwich,
40
y'all.
50. I'm on day 53, I think.
Jeez, that's
And
what's
I've
up.
eaten steak and eggs every single day for the last 53 days. So
I
For
Um,
got
every
two
meal.
quick things I
every
want to
single
add.
meal.
I know we're about to shut it down, but I got two quick tips I want to add, something that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
So, as far as tracking all of your output metrics in terms of responding to your leads and keeping track of how many reach outs that you're doing, one problem that I had when I was getting started was consistently entering the information into the KPI sheets, but even more particularly gathering that information and having it on hand so I could enter it. And one thing that helped me out a lot, I went on the Google App Store and I found or not Google App, the Apple App Store, and I found an app called Count That Now. It's a free tally app, and basically you just you can create different categories that you would like to keep a tally for, and
love that.
you can just constantly
Oh,
flip back
cool.
and forth and just add it. And then, like, you know, when you get home at the end of the day, when it's time to enter in your reach outs, when it's time to enter in your total conversations, your meetups, your appointment set, it's all right here. And it
Huh.
just makes it a lot easier, and it's free.
That's
That's
pretty cool.
fire. What's it called?
Yeah,
The
yeah. It's
name of
called a
the name of the app is called Count That Now.
Love that.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I second that, man. That definitely works. He put me onto that app, and I've been using it ever since. And
Let's
like,
go.
as soon as I reach out, I'll just hit the. It's easy to just go in and hit the tally button real quick,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the night, I'll go in and enter everything onto my spreadsheet. So that's really been helping me keep good track of my numbers
That's pretty
too.
cool.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm probably the reach out prince right now. So like I'll literally just sit there, scroll on Facebook Marketplace, and then literally soon as I do a reach out, just click over to my Tally app and just add it in. And then even when I get a message that somebody actually responds, because as you know, people don't always respond, I even have another one for like actual conversations had. So it makes it easier for you to keep track of all the numbers that are actually going to be valuable to take full advantage of some of the tools you have available in the course.
Mhm.
Pretty
Well,
cool. I like
that's
that.
great. That's great for just self accountability too, man. To be able to push yourself, you
Yes.
know,
Right.
it
Yeah.
It
that's
drives
just
you.
yeah, it's great feedback for yourself, right? Other that you wouldn't otherwise have, and you can be
Yeah,
like, oh, it's just been a slow few days. Like these people just aren't getting back to me. But if you were tallying it, you might actually have been slacking, right? But you
exactly.
can't. But you don't have that data, so
Exactly.
that's fire. I like that.
Yeah. And another thing that I wanted to add, kind of just this is more like a mindset tip. So I personally aim to do at least 100 reach outs a day. I'm not always consistent, but it's not because I'm being lazy. Sometimes I have 25 orders I got to ship out. And sometimes I'm talking to people and I talk to 10 people and three of them are ready to meet now. And I'm like driving over here, driving over there. However, the one mindset tip that's kind of helped me stay consistent when you really crush the reach outs and you really just frivolously throw them out and it's just no holes barred, everybody gets an offer when people finally do get back with you, it's almost the equivalent of another paid ad source. It's almost like they will come hunt you down, kind of.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, professional, ask them whatever you need to ask them. For me, I'm usually making an offer within 2 or 3 messages. I can figure out whatever I need to ask you. I already know what it is because of the listing. I just need to know if there's anything wrong with it. No, okay, boom. Here's the order. The way I do it, I'm usually only gonna make 3 offers. I hit them low, I'll come up a little bit, I'll maybe come up one more time, and then I kind of just exit the conversation in a friendly, polite, cordial, professional manner and just make it easy for them to come back. I'm like overly polite with people to the point to where it's the door is wide open and I just make it very easy for them to come back. And I noticed that the more conversations like that I have, it's
Mhm.
it's it's been days where I've literally closed 3 deals from a week ago on some random reach out that I did that I literally forgot about. I'm not
Mhm.
even thinking about it anymore.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Hey man, no, I'm ready. Could you still do 300? Could you still do 250? Blah blah blah. I'm mobile." And it's just, hey man, that's just one of the benefits. I know sometimes reach outs can just be intimidating to people. You feel like you're lowballing. You feel like,
Right.
oh, the prices are so high in my area. Man, just send the offers. The more offer you send, it's like a snowball, and it's
Yeah.
gonna just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
Well, I think it's, when you set yourself up as that person that, you know, like they know that they can come back to, right? Like you're their fail safe essentially,
Yeah.
because you've already made the offer. They know you're serious. Like that's why I always like to pre-frame it with like, hey, I run a business that buys this, this, and that, right? Like, I always like to pre-frame it as a business owner, and it works because people are like, oh, this dude's serious. Okay, he's kind of like, I got this other dude that says he's gonna pay more, but typically, let's be real, what happens? That person no shows or stops responding or whatever. And then you're the fallback guy. And I'd rather be the fallback guy. I'm totally fine with that.
I have no ego in that
Yeah,
regard. Money is money.
Exactly.
I tell people straight up, if everything falls through and you don't get any better offers, just keep me in your back pocket, for later.
For
And
sure.
people do come back. I've had people come back like 2 weeks later, and I forgot all about who they are. I've erased the conversation or whatever, and they come back. They're ready.
That's
Like
funny.
Bryce was saying, just like be polite and make it easy, because people do feel genuinely bad about like turning you down when they don't take your offer, or they'll be apologetic. So you just be nice to people and they'll end up coming back, because it's
Yeah,
annoying trying to sell stuff on marketplace. It really is.
It
It
is. It
is.
is. And you can frame the whole entire way that the person perceives you just based on how you talk to them.
true.
Somebody,
Yeah.
like a lot of people, so okay, you got a higher offer, but it's literally somebody, all they said was 150.
Yep.
That's
Right.
the whole interaction, 150.
Exactly.
You didn't
Exactly.
talk to
That's
them, you weren't polite, you don't know what these people are going through. Maybe they're just trying to get rid of something because they got it sitting around, but maybe they really do have something going on and they need the cash today. You know?
mm-hmm.
You know what's funny is I'll use a mix of if I plan on going, hardcore for the day, I'll just turn on Resale Hawk with the typical message, right? But if if I go in and I do what Matt does, which he snipe steals, right? um, you go in with the three ping method. That work like on the right deals, that is golden every
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
It works
It
incredible.
is.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, that's Matt's process. We're not going to go over it because that's a thing inside a reseller. But that three ping method thing works. Ping, ping, ping. Like it does. It works really well. I use that on the Valve Index guy that I was talking about
Nice.
on Craigslist of all places, and it worked. So, but yeah, guys, I think this has been a pretty productive podcast. We're gonna have
Right
to do
on.
some of these. What do you think, Matt? Should we do these more often, or just bring on a lot of people?
Yeah, I think it's really great that everybody can hear that there's nothing exceptional about Chris and I's results. This stuff speaks for itself, and it's simple to put it into practice if you're just willing to take action. You've got Rick, who mostly resells phones. You got Bryce, who's heavy on consoles and a lot of off the radar flips, and you've got JB over here, who's just mostly doing the three things he told you that he's doing, right? And guess what? We're all making money. So let that inform people's understanding and any biases people might have about how this is exclusive to a certain group of people. It's not. You just put the put it in play, trust the process, and the results come.
Love it. Well, guys, thanks for watching another episode of the Smart Flip. We'll look into doing one of these again, and hopefully, maybe one day, one of you watching this will be on this podcast. You got to be a Recelerator student, though. That's the thing,
Who's going to be next?
because all of these guys are. And with that being said, guys, see you guys later. See you guys next week. And make sure to check out the links and cool stuff in the description below. But with that being said, see you guys later, and great day. Keep flipping.
Later, bros.
See you
See you
guys.
guys.
All right.
Take it easy.